news and features from around Australia and around the world. This is Travel Radio Australia. Here's your host and travel guide, Ren Sveers.
And welcome to this month's edition of Travel Radio Australia. We've got a bit of a cruising theme. We're going to take you for a trip on Brittany Ferries from Great Britain to France, and then we'll find out about expedition cruising as well, courtesy of Travelradio Radio. What else? Geoff Harrison is taking us to the ski fields, and he meets up with David Hasselhoff, yep, the real one, the Hoff, for a little chat. And to complete the show, a grab from our team in the US, Wiesenberger and Martha Bull, and they're chatting to Laura Pettigrew, who runs the Art Ranch. Now, that's an intriguing thing. We'll find out all about it later in the show. First up, though, Geoff Harrison and the Hoff.
Hi, g'day.
G'day, mate.
G'day,
how are
mate.
you?
I'm well, thank you.
Now, the Hoff, and you're here at the ski show in London, and it's great. Can you say hello to our people at Ski TV there?
Hello, Ski TV. It's the Hoff. Actually, the Hoff was invented in Australia, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, it was invented by some secretaries from the, I got a call from the Daily Telegraph, and they called me and they said, how do you feel about being a sex symbol at 50? I said, that's okay. And they said, there is an epidemic of emails going back and forth from females calling you the Hoff. And I said, well, don't hassle the Hoff. And
really? That's where it all came from Australia.
Yeah.
Well, what part of Australia was that? Sydney, Melbourne?
It was in Sydney, yeah. In fact, I was at Sydney Harbour Park jogging, and cars were driving up going, Hoff. It was like the night of the Walking Dead, you know?
That's fantastic. And you're here with alpineresorts.com, and tell us a bit about that company. How did you get involved with them?
Alpineresorts.com called me, and they said, look, we're kind of we know that you're really into social media, and that's what we're into. We're booking ski resorts all over the world. They have 900. It's a family-run organization. A bunch of guys got together, and they started with just 2 or 3. Now they have 900. And so you can go on to alpineresorts.com and book all your skis. So when you go to Aspen or Kitzbühel or Saarbrücken or Austria or Queensland, you just go and you hit Alpine Ski Resorts, alpineresorts.com, and all your stuff's waiting for you. So I thought, why not? And so can you throw in a ski vacation? And they did.
Well, that's a good thing, isn't it? Yeah. That's fantastic. Now the Hoff, what's your favourite ski resort in Europe? And I know, or one of them, I know you've got quite a few because we've got to be fair to everyone. What do you think?
Well, I don't know. I really enjoyed skiing. I've skied a lot of places, and I've done a lot of work with the Special Olympics and Schwarzenegger and those guys, and skied a lot mostly in Austria. And I really learned to ski in Kitzbühel because I was recording an album there.
Yeah.
Now I ski at family resorts like Saarbrücken, and then I like the smaller family-run resorts because when you're
for
me, you can't go anywhere unless you have your goggles on.
Or the big balaclava like Clint Eastwood has.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, thank you very much, Hoff, for your time. We really appreciate it. And is there any way you could just say hi to our Ski TV audience out there who are watching online?
Okay. Hi, it's David Hasselhoff on Ski TV. Keep skiing, guys. I'll see you on the slopes with alpineresorts.com.
Geoff Harrison on the ski fields chatting with the one and only the Hoff, David Hasselhoff. And now we're going to take on a ferry trip on Brittany Ferries. David Gordon from Travelbites Radio in Northern Ireland is the man taking us there. And this segment comes to you courtesy of Travelbites Radio.
We're here on the Pontavin with Brittany Ferries on our way from Cork to Roscoff in Brittany. Jean-Jacques, tell me about this particular ship. What size is it, first of all?
So the size of the ship, the size is 180 meters longer and 30 meters larger, more than 30 meters larger. And the capacity of the ship is more than 2,400 passengers on board. You have 650 cabins, and the capacity of the car deck is 650 cars.
What amazes me about this is that it's not a car ferry. This is like a mini cruise ship.
Yes, it is a mini cruise ship, and from Roscoff to Cork, it's possible to make a cruise. Not during the summer, but out that summer, it will be possible for French people to come just to have a quick visit to Cork or to Kinsale for a few hours, and it's a visit of the ship and a small visit of island.
Tell me about the facilities on board. There's lots of entertainment, for example.
About the facilities, you have a main restaurant. The main restaurant with 380 places, and we make two services. Sometimes tonight you are more than 2,100 on board, and we will make around 400 people in the restaurant. And we have as well a self-service restaurant, and a salon de thé. A salon de thé, if you like, just some pastries and coffee, tea, some drinks. And as well, we have 3 bars. One main bar at the front of the ship, a wine bar at the end near the restaurant, and as well a bar near the swimming pool. You have a swimming pool on board, and today the weather is nice. On the swimming pool, many children are on board, around 700 children on board, and many people are in the swimming pool today.
You also have a good program of entertainment in the bar as well.
Yes, we have entertainment during all the crossing, since the departure until 11 o'clock in the evening. We have some singers. We have as well magicians, and we have a pianist in the wine bar as well. In the wine bar, a pianist during all the evening.
It certainly is great entertainment and great many things to do. When people, of course, they are on an overnight trip, they have to stay. What types of cabins do you have?
We have a Commodore class cabin. We have 18 Commodore cabin. We have 16 deluxe cabin. We have as well family cabins, around 50 families cabin. It's a 4-berth cabin with a TV and it's possible to have a coffee and a tea in your cabin. After we have a 4-berth cabin and 2-berth cabin, and we have more than 2,100 berths in the cabins.
Lots and lots of people. People want to find out more. What's the website address for the company?
Brittany Ferries. It's possible to book by website, or by we have as well possibilities to book by phone or in each terminal. But on the website you have all the possibility to book your choice, your ship, your line, and you can book by website.
That's lovely. Thank you very much indeed for your time today.
Welcome on board, and I hope that your crossing will be nice with us.
David Gordon on board Brittany Ferries en route from Great Britain to France. Next on the show, expedition cruising is the topic when Veronica Matheson chats with Peter Koller, and this segment courtesy of Travelradio-5.
Peter, welcome to the show. Now, expedition cruising has really taken off recently. Why do you think that is so?
I think, Veronica, there's a couple of reasons. Just in travel in general, we're seeing people move more from a sightseeing concept to a sight doing, so they're becoming more active, more immersive with the environment around them. So I think that's just a general travel trend as it is. But within the expedition sector, so much evolution in the product itself. So We've got, I mean, if you did an expedition cruise, say 5-10 years ago, a lot of the options you had to choose were older vessels that were built in the 80s and 90s, so not very comfortable. But we're seeing this evolution in design where we're seeing luxury brands now come in, so you can immerse yourselves in these beautiful locations, quaint, serene areas of the Arctic, and all of the creature comforts all surrounded by you. So there's a couple of reasons why that's all happening.
Yes, so you can have sort of an adventure during the day, come back exhausted, and then really find yourself in the lap of luxury.
Definitely, the cuisines, even the quality of things like the guides. That the expedition sector invests so strongly in the quality of their guides. So we've got marine biologists heading up groups with a wealth of knowledge at the fingertips for the passengers, and it's just a very unique experience.
So the guides, they know what they're talking about. They're well qualified. The people who go on expedition cruising, is it because they prefer smaller ships? Because I imagine all the expedition ships are a lot smaller than the average cruise vessel.
Yeah, I think destination still drives a lot of the demand. But the ships are certainly helpful. Yes, they're all sort of 200 passengers and below. I think currently in the current market there's about 15 companies that operate expedition cruising, which equivalates to about 50-odd ships. But we're seeing a lot of new builds coming. So in the next 10 years there's 17 new expedition vessels. They're all the luxury products. So yes, the product is changing and conforming to the creature comforts of the passenger, but I still think the destinations are really the key driving force. And what I'm seeing from my standpoint from the Cruise Lines International Association is there's also evolution in technology, also in regulations. So we're having these vessels being able to maneuver through new territories which they previously couldn't because they've got the new technology, they've got the hardened propellers, they've got the better double hulls, they've got better connectivity. So it's opening up even more options out there.
Some of the destinations are so far flung that the only way a traveller can get to them is by sea.
That's correct. You look at, one of the stalwarts of the expedition offerings has always been the Galapagos, but of course only available by sea. But of course the polar regions are always popular, but you have to remember they're a very finite season. So for the Antarctic area it's our summer, and for the northern areas it's during our winter. But in between, the cruise lines are still doing quite a lot of exotic locations in the tropics. So Papua New Guinea is a perfect example. If you ever gone to Papua New Guinea, it's hard enough to get into the main cities, let alone the remote areas, coastal areas, islands that a lot of these expedition cruisers visit. So travelling alone is almost impossible unless you're doing it by the waterways. We're seeing the subarctic islands of New Zealand becoming in vogue as well, which is great for bird watchers. Down the southern tip of New Zealand there, you've got some islands called Campbell, Auckland, Enderby. They're very rich in the bird life. So we're seeing that, and of course the Kimberleys, our sort of heart of Australia really, and that's become really in vogue again. And some of the best ways to see the Kimberley, yes, you can do it by other forms, but through the inlet waterways, it's just exceptional.
Yes, well, a lot of people who go cruising say it's one of the best experiences they've ever had.
Yeah, they get a lot of repeat as well, and this is something that's you probably don't see as much in general cruising, is people will choose very similar itineraries to maybe something they've experienced before, because the way the expedition type of experience works is you may be in an area, but you're in a different nook and cranny and in a different bay, and the conditions are so volatile as well, so they change quite dramatically. So your experience one time is completely different to another time.
Is it just the younger people who go on these adventure cruises, or do golden oldies go too?
Well, the Goldie Oldies are loving it at the moment because that luxury aspect is coming in. So, previously they may have had some misconceptions or nervousness about getting into a Zodiac and being a little bit more active than probably what they're used to. But with the modern design, these new ships have platforms where you just walk into the Zodiac rather than climbing it or straddling it. And so these little creature comforts are also making it more accessible for the Golden Age.
Which are the most popular destinations at the moment? I mean, is it the Arctic and the Antarctic because they're on everyone's bucket list?
They're still popular. It's funny when I talk to the various cruise lines, even from an Australian perspective, we seem to be the second biggest source market for every single cruise line. So Aussies love travel. They immerse themselves, and Antarctica has always been one of the strong points of our adventure. So that's still getting a lot of demand.
And the Arctic, I guess, is next in line.
Yeah, they've opened up areas. Well, the Northwest Passage is an area which I suppose was inconceivable a few years ago, but again, with the new technology, there's new training requirements for crew, new simulators, and all this technical aspect that it has now allowed operators to tackle it, and they're doing it successfully. So that's gaining more and more. And of course, the good old northern island of Norway called Spitsbergen, and beautiful location there, Longyearbyen and so forth, beautiful location. And in all of these, you feel, I've been fortunate enough to do a few myself, and you really feel alone with the world, yet you never are, but it really is a serene experience.
Now, it's currently Plan a Cruise Month. What is that all about?
So Plan a Cruise Month is a concept that we started as a collective industry a few years ago. We actually had it as a week, but it was just too big, so we made it a month. And really, our role is just to create awareness of cruising. The cruise lines themselves have promotional deals, but at the same time, our travel agent partners and everyone involved in cruising start making cruise a conversation. So we bring awareness about the possible holiday options that it brings.
What is the best advice for somebody who wants to go on an expedition cruise? Do they go and see their travel agent?
Yeah, I can't see how you can't travel these days without one. We're actually finding figures of people booking travel moving back towards travel agents. In fact, in the cruise sector, it's about 90% of booking cruise through a travel agent. In and around the cruise industry, that travel agents take and become accredited. So if you ever see a travel agent with a CLIA sign, CLIA, then you know they're trained by the cruise industry themselves. So they're obviously going to be
the experts, is what he was about to say. That was Peter Koller, one of the Australasian division of Cruise Lines International Association, and he was with Veronica Matheson.
And next on the show, we meet up with our US team, Arthur von Wiesenberger and Martha Bull, based in the studio in Santa Barbara, California, where they're chatting with their studio guest, Laura Pettigrew, who runs the Art Ranch. Let's find out all about that. Here's Arthur and Martha and Laura.
And we're back here on Around the World. I'm Arthur von Wiesenberger. Martha Bull looking wonderful as always. And we're having such a good time here. We're going to travel all over today. We got such interesting people to talk to. You know, one of the things that is really fascinating is sometimes going somewhere in the world for a particular reason. You know, as opposed to just traveling as a tourist, but you have a goal. You've got to achieve something.
Right.
And our first guest is wonderful in that way because Laura Pettigrew, I've known for many years, terrific person, and she has an organization called The Art Ranch. And for years she's been helping children bring out their creativity and also therapeutically helping them through art. And she's taken this overseas.
Cool.
Which is incredible. So let's all say hello to Lori! Lori, how are you?
Thank
so
you,
good
guys.
to have you here today.
Thank you. Thank you, Martha. Thank you, Arthur.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, you founded the Art Ranch.
Yes, I did.
And that
15
was
years ago.
What was the vision when you started that?
Well, I always felt that children needed art and needed to get out in nature. So I've created camps in pristine areas around this country, around art, music, dance, visual arts, drama, and environmental studies. So
really tapping into their creative soul.
Yes, exactly. And
which is, I think all kids want to be there, right? And especially these days when they're doing all this on their computers.
Exactly.
Do you take the computers away?
Oh, we take it away, and then they forget about them. after a week.
Yeah,
yes,
it was like how
they
we used
do.
to do when we were growing up.
No,
We
it's
just
true.
play.
It's true.
Yeah, you go
We have a lot of
outside.
fun.
What a concept.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
So now you've taken the big leap. You've expanded internationally.
Yes, we've done programs in Vietnam and Mexico, and then just 2 years ago, I was invited by Human Rights Watch to help the refugees off of the boats coming over the Aegean Sea into Lesbos. So watching these families come over with just their one little bag of supplies and risking their lives, going through Syria and then on these rubber boats that, of course, some of them have capsized over the Aegean in the middle of the night. And that's where we'd have to bring them on shore. Excuse me, sorry, it gets emotional. And put them, and put them in groups and then take these families to get registered. And they're relieved once they hit the shore, but then their journey has just begun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Because it's
yes.
heartbreak.
Yeah, it really is. So
you went to did you go to Lesbos?
Yes, I went to Lesbos. I
What's
was on
it
the
like,
shores.
by the way? I've never been there.
Never been to Lesbos?
No. Is it nice?
It's actually beautiful. It's actually a beautiful little island.
I mean, it's
People
like
are
Mykonos,
wonderful.
that kind of thing?
Yeah, yes, exactly. It's aesthetically pretty, like Mykonos.
But
And the people are wonderful, and the Greeks were on the shores with the old men with the tea, giving them to the people. I mean, the Greeks are amazing.
Yeah,
I mean,
and they have their own problems right now.
and they're in a major economic crisis, and you would
were
never
telling
know.
me earlier about the
Yes.
taxes.
Oh yes,
That's
and
unbelievable.
people don't know this.
Tell our audience, 'cause you guys won't believe
You guys
this.
won't believe this. No, like top people in their top careers, like surgeons and doctors, I mean, they pay 80% of their income to the government.
80%.
Because yes.
And I'm thinking that those people are going to relocate.
Well, they are. You're exactly right, Martha. They are. A lot of those people are leaving the country. So hopefully things will turn around. Hopefully, Germany will come down on the loans. I mean, Germany has lent Greece money with high interest rates.
So they're kind of like Germans, they're kind of like shark
loans. High interest rates. I mean, and everybody gets helped here and there, but their interest rates, what they placed on these loans to Greece, they just can't get out of it.
Right.
Now,
But it also started with Greece not really managing.
Right, but exactly. But we've all needed help. But then it's true. Greece has Athens. They have a very big public sector. Right. So there's a lot of people working and
when you're there,
not doing much. Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we read about all these economic crises, and we see some protests that go on in Athens and so forth. That's been going on for a number of years. How does it feel when you're actually there for any period of time? Is it?
You would never know that.
You
would never know that they were in an economic crisis. They're out at 10 o'clock at night eating and drinking, and it's wonderful. And they're up the next day. I mean, they're really hardworking people, but they seem to do it. They have an innate philosophy, I think. That things will turn around. And
they've gone through a few crises.
They've gone through
over
a few
the
crises.
millennials, right?
Yes, they have.
Wow.
So back to Lesbos,
Right.
and so that's what inspired. I felt, everybody's working with these, food, clothing, and shelter, and trying to get these people into homes. And I thought, well, a psychosocial initiative should be put together, because these children have witnessed a lot. So in my research, speaking to schools in Berlin and in Athens, the kids are suffering from PTSD. So I put together a 3-component module that is brought into the schools after they've been placed in the schools, not in the shelters, because you want kind of long-term care and emotional healing. So we use local art therapists and psychologists that go into the schools, and they do an after-school art therapy program.
And you were explaining why art is so important.
Well, and this is why they didn't think the children were having any issues. But when people, when you have experienced high trauma, there's a part of the brain that cuts off, the Broca part of the brain, and they can't speak. You can't speak. So art therapy is a nonverbal approach to reaching the children, and having them process.
So they're communicating through their art.
Through their art, yes. So we do music therapy, visual arts therapy, and drama therapy, which is wonderful. So, and we have lead psychologists that are on board. In fact, the Psychoanalytic Institute is doing research in Berlin on this initiative.
And you were talking about why it's so important to get them to start to assimilate.
Yes.
And that way they don't become radicalized, because if they can assimilate it.
Well, exactly. And if the PTSD is not addressed, then they don't learn, and they're very vulnerable to crime and addiction. And, well, you'll have communities full of dysfunctional people.
Right.
So, and they are vulnerable to crime, addiction, and radicalization, because ISIS and groups like that target young people that don't have any guidance and purpose. So it's important. It's important to address this. And in speaking with the people, is that they do need it. In fact, we went into one school, they said, this is magic. We've been looking for something like this. So the second component of it also teaches it trains the teachers and the facilitators how to work with these children as well, because their kind of hands are full and they don't know what to do. So that's the second part of the component.
And what ages are you talking?
Oh, all through. I'm elementary school, all through, yes.
Through high school?
Yeah, through high school.
Is there, Lori, in looking at Greece versus Berlin, where you have operations in both places, is there a difference between what you're doing in either place, or the way that people are responding?
I think, and I think in every place people are just different. No, I think they're responding to the initiative. They want it, but it's always different. It's interesting working with different people and different mentalities. So. Yeah.
And so you're having a good time. It's in Berlin, right? That you're headquarters?
Yes, in Berlin and in Athens. I go back and forth in the United States. So our headquarters are here in California, so I'm always coming back here.
And how are things in Berlin these days?
Great, I love Berlin. I really do.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's exciting city. It's creative, artistic, great food.
Yeah.
Arthur, yes. I like Berlin. I love Athens, too. Different spirit, wonderful.
Right.
So
It's fascinating to be in both places, but it's interesting how they are taking on these refugees and trying to help. Which,
they are.
Is the big challenge.
Yes,
I know this one would like to have me hit the Boca here, so I would start talking sometimes, right?
Absolutely. Tell me again where that is.
I know.
He's actually on his best behavior today.
Oh, I know. Well, that's only, I'm holding my breath here.
But the day's not over.
That's for sure. Are there other places you're looking to expand into?
We will, after they do the research. Yes, we will. We'll go into Italy, and then we want to take it into the United States. So it's kind of going this way, but into the United States. And any of these psychosocial programs would work well in Watts. Those kids are experiencing PTSD.
Right.
So after they do the research in Berlin, we'll have some data and some that we can present to some of these schools.
And how long has the program been in existence?
This is just, we just first launched in August. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and then we'll continue in the fall. So it'll be so we'll do the camps, and then we do the six-month after-school program, and then we follow with the training program for the teachers and the facilitators.
Wow. So it'd be nice to get you back.
Yes,
within a year and find out how the kids
that would
are
be
doing.
Great. Thank you. I'd love to come back.
Laura, if people want to follow up and actually understand a little bit more about the Art Ranch, where can they go and how can they get more information and how can they get involved?
Okay, well, they can go to theartranch.org and then also on Facebook, The Art Ranch on Facebook. Yes.
And I mean, if you were, say, for example, you were an art teacher and said, gee, I want to help out. Because sometimes people don't, not everybody can write a check.
Exactly. Info at theartranch.org.
And they could
somebody
contribute time and energy.
Absolutely.
And then, of course,
yes.
It might be a good way to spend the summer.
Wouldn't that be?
No, it's wonderful.
Teachers,
yes, peer-to-peer teaching also too.
Right.
If I teach how to draw little stick figures like that,
you can come.
does that?
You can come.
Could I
promise to be good.
You still have problems with your Boca.
If you promise to be good.
Arthur and Martha, and from Around the World TV, that particular segment, chatting with Laura Pettigrew, and that's the end of the show. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, so we'll say goodbye. Thank you to all our contributors, Geoff Harrison and the Hoff, David Gordon with his guests, Veronica Matheson, Peter Koller, Arthur von Wiesenberger, Martha Bull, Laura Pettigrew. We'll be back next month with another edition of Travel Radio Australia. Until then, I'm Ren Zweers, wishing you all happy trails.